Kathleen Bush-Joseph. She's a policy analyst at the Migration Policy Institute here in Washington. Kathleen, really appreciate you taking the time to talk to us. Firstly, tell us about this new law and why it's so controversial.
Thanks for having me on today, Sally. This law really creates an unprecedented situation of a state taking the act of arresting migrants and then trying to deport them to Mexico. It's really unclear how Texas will be able to enforce this law, if at all, since Mexico has said that it actually won't cooperate. And there are questions about local sheriffs having the personnel and resources to be carrying out these arrests, but that had been a federal government authority and function.
So you mentioned that Mexico won't cooperate. Can you talk a little bit about how important that cooperation is from the Mexican government? Because we know that it's been a key partner in the Biden administration's strategy. So, does Texas need Mexico to ensure this law happens?
Absolutely. And as you said, Mexico has been a critical partner in the Biden administration's return of a historic number of people. They've sent back hundreds of thousands of people to Mexico. And Mexico is actually accepting third country nationals, so Cubans, Haitians, Nicaraguans, and Venezuelans. And the government raised that this law and Mexico's opposition to it could jeopardize those ongoing returns.
Can you talk about, what this law means on a federal level? The Biden administration has challenged it as an affront to federal power. How?
When we have our federalist system and immigration being a federal authority, that means that there's one law of the land, you could say. And this law is an attempt to challenge that federal government supremacy and, if allowed to stay in place, could lead to other states trying to take their own immigration actions and potentially lead to a patchwork of different areas of enforcement and priorities, which is part of the rationale of the lower court in saying that it was an unconstitutional law. As you noted, the case is ongoing, and an appellate court will hear arguments about the case in the next few weeks. So we'll see if it's actually allowed to continue.
Two justices in the majority urged a lower court to quickly decide whether to allow the law to remain in effect while appeals continue, as you mentioned. Talk about the arguments that were made in this predominantly conservative-leaning court and how Texas was able to push ahead with this law in this jurisdiction in the first place.
Yeah, so Texas is saying that it's facing an invasion of migrants and that is why it should be allowed to take action. It's saying that the Biden administration is not doing enough on enforcement and that it needs this power to be able to basically make up for what it says the Biden administration isn't doing. On the other hand, the Biden administration has been very clear in saying that they are actually maxing out resources and they are returning as many people as quickly as they can, but that they need Congress to give them the funds to hire people and send planes of people back to Mexico and their home countries.
All right, that's all the time we have for Kathleen Bush-Joseph. Thank you very much.